Hey Kate, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
I am doing well. I got two sweet Springer Spaniel doggos with me right now, so we'll see how well
Oh,
behaved they stay. Let's just say last
it's
episode
all
I had to do some editing. There is a couple times funny
there's
enough,
nothing like it.
which is gonna be a big topic of what we're talking about. Cedric hasn't gotten neutered yet. So,
Oh,
that's.
well, perfect time.
It is. It is. Well, thanks for joining the WAG Pod. We have Kate Rooney of Canine Community Outreach of North Carolina. And from our original conversation, I think, you know, basically, oh, it just said otter. I don't know, I got some random
Oh,
notification. Zoom's tricking me. But
oh
anyway,
yeah, the downside to recorders.
yeah, yeah, dude, I don't want that otter. I don't need that. We got dogs already. But anyways, you weren't exactly, gonna be involved in this at first, but then it kind of turned into you and Colleen and also the scope of what you did, rather just helping dogs in general and looking for different ways to get involved. It kind of narrowed into a focus on spay and neuter. So do you just kind of want to take me through how everything got started for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, when the conversation started, it was four volunteers who worked with other rescues in the Wake County area. And originally we were going to do a rescue, and then
Yeah.
we looked around and realized there are so many rescues.
There's a lot of rescues.
Yes, and we volunteered with so many of them.
Hmm.
And so we were like, well, what is there that needs to, be filled? And
Hmm.
we realized there just wasn't as much information or education about spay and neuter.
Yeah.
And also there wasn't enough funding. It's
Right.
surprisingly expensive, even at low cost spay neuter clinics.
Right.
So when
Right.
we switched it in the beginning,
And how early on was that you kind of recognized this need?
yeah, it was this was back actually in 2018 when we started. And
Nice.
so I think because we had all been in the animal welfare, animal rescue organization volunteering for such a long time,
Sure.
all of us were kind of aware that there just were so many
Right.
litter puppies being dropped off all
Right.
the time, and so many questions. And so
Right. Right. Which is interesting too, because as the average person would not think of that. Like it took you guys going and volunteering consistently to really see that need that's almost hidden, right? And so from there, basically you and it's Colleen,
yeah,
correct?
yes,
Y'all two are the dynamic duo. And so you guys started, and so basically, do you want to kind of get into spay and neuter and the voucher program that you're working with? And it's SPAC, is that correct?
SPCA, yes.
SPCA. I wrote it down right beside me,
Yes.
but I was like, "Well, I don't need to look."
I see.
Well, maybe I did. Okay.
You said it with confidence,
I
which
did.
oftentimes is half the battle.
Right, exactly. They need to change their name now, right? So yeah, you want to dive into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started out, we were really just paying either 100 to 150 for towards a spay or neuter. So if you
Right.
go to a low cost clinic,
Hmm.
oftentimes it'll be an additional cost of maybe 100 or
Sure.
150. If you can't afford that, or you're having to choose between spay and neuter and your groceries for that week, then you
Yeah.
can't do it. It's a
Right.
lot of money.
Right.
And so we started funding, and we got to talking with the SPCA Wake County. They run a voucher program.
Right.
And so what we do is if you're in Wake County, we'll purchase the voucher on your behalf. And they have a group of vets around the area, at multiple locations,
Yeah.
that are willing to take the vouchers and
Right.
accept that. And it kind of opened the door for people to be able to, first of all, get an appointment because there are so few low cost neuter
Yeah.
clinics.
Because
And
it can cost, I believe, I don't know, my sister and brother-in-law just got their dachshund neutered. I
mhm,
mean, you're looking at. if you're going to your vet, probably what, $300 to $500, maybe more, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And that's what's so hard. I think,
That's a hefty cost. That's not like, that's a lot, especially
yes,
for me, I'm like, whew,
exactly. Yes. Even people who, are well off, it can be a hard thing to swing. And
right,
I think that's the challenge of dog ownership is owning a dog and is so expensive,
right.
to try and take care of them. But,
Oh yeah. Well,
if you,
especially today, right?
yeah.
Like I mean, it's almost become, which I love it, right? I love dogs. So this is great, right? And a lot of
Mhm.
my business isn't taking care of dogs, but it's become, I was talking to like my dad a little bit, or like my grandpa, and like back then, it's like, yeah, you had a dog, kind of, it was hanging around, it might be outside, it wasn't, as much as today. It's like this is part of your family, it
Yeah.
truly is.
Yes, it is so interesting. And apparently there was just a National Geographic article about that's an evolutionary thing that we've
Yeah.
evolved to see them as our family. And so
Huh.
everybody wants to take care of their loved one.
Right.
I think that's why there's so many pet food pantries that are seeing a rush on people. They're desperate to take care of these members of their family
Yep.
and not have to go hungry themselves. But we hear all the
Exactly.
time. People are like, I gave up this so that I could get this for my dog.
Right.
And so
Right.
yeah, I think anytime we can find those programs that will help support people, it helps your mental health to be able to have this companion.
100%. And it's, luckily they're so cute
Yeah.
too, or else you'd be like, well, why aren't you helping out with the bills? Well, I'm just,
We joke about that all the time.
Yeah.
My dog, so I have
Hmm.
an 8-year-old, he is a pit
Yeah.
brown white mutt.
Yeah. What's his name?
His name is Hanzo,
Hanzo. I like
and
that.
he was a rescue, and he is the first dog I've owned personally. Like, I've
Yeah.
had dogs in my family, and
Sure.
my husband, he had a dog. This is the first dog I've really raised from a
Nice.
puppy, so he is absolutely my baby.
Yeah.
And he ate a grape. And we discovered that
Ah.
grapes are very deadly to some dogs.
Yeah. I've
And
I've heard that. I was eating
yeah,
a grape in the kitchen, it falls, and I'm like, oh no, like you're diving to get it before they do.
I have not had a grape in my kitchen since, but
Wow.
we used to joke and we'd say, Hanzo, it's a good thing you're so lovable and cute because we just had to shell out a
A
pretty
lot of money.
penny.
Yeah.
And we love you so much, buddy.
Right. And some would also argue that um grapes are better in wine form anyways, so
Yes,
it's,
that's that's my preferred.
I mean, you don't need it's yeah, you're looking out for dogs by getting wine. That's what I'm kind of getting
Yes,
together on this.
really, it's your duty.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to SBCA, um they are bringing down that cost of,
Mhm.
$500 or so because they're partnering with vets specifically. Is that right?
Yes, they've negotiated that price. And
Right.
so it really, I think, came about a little bit in response to just how few low-cost spay neuter clinics there are
Right.
in Wake County in North Carolina in general.
Right.
And so being able to approach vets to say, hey, this is a real big need
Yeah.
would be really helpful if you could work with us on this.
Right.
I think has been tremendous. And it's actually meant, we hear from people all the time, I can't get an appointment and for 6 months,
Right.
get this spay or neuter done. And then we'll send them through the voucher program and they're able to get it, within a
Yeah.
couple weeks.
And it's quality surgery that's being done, right? These are professional vets and they're just doing this. It's almost like that's their bit of charitable giving, right? Like they're able to do
Exactly.
those at a lower cost. So I know your focuses of Canine Community Outreach is kind of, there's a fundraising side and then there's like an education. So, are you pointing people to SBCA, or like what kind of sets you apart from what, are you raising money to get vouchers, or like, are you giving people, what exactly is that? Like what
Mhm.
differentiates you guys?
I think the big differentiation is that we are entirely focused on raising money to get that spay neuter
Nice.
done. you don't see a lot of places that are doing just that fundraising
Right.
element and trying to reach directly out to the community. So
Right.
having that direct interface where people apply through our website and we'll work with them to get it taken care of.
Right.
Um,
So
I,
it's almost like you're I don't know if middleman is the correct word, but the idea of you're communicating between SPCA and potential like people who would need their animals spayed or neutered, and you're taking away all the stress and all the like the hard part of it, right? That
Mhm.
communication, moving the money, and so you're essentially streamlining that entire process while also educating them about what to do. Is that kind of a decent description?
I think so, and I think it really is connecting people. There's so many people out there that don't know what resources are
Yeah,
available.
yeah,
And we've had a lot of people who have come to us because they saw us at an event or the SPCA has referred them. But I think a lot of people aren't aware of how many programs are out there that could help.
yeah.
So we're happy to be one of those and
That's awesome.
being
There,
able to,
there, there can never be enough, right?
exactly. There's always a need, and we've had a tremendous increase in the number of requests. We've had the SNAP van, which was the a mobile van service that did low cost spay neuter in
Yeah,
communities, especially closed down. And we saw within a couple weeks, we saw our waiting list actually become a waiting list.
right.
We jumped from, a few a month in requests to we have at least, 3 to 5 each week. And that
Wow.
keeps growing and
Yeah,
growing.
yeah,
And so I think that, people know they want to do this, and it's just a matter of not knowing where to go, what to do. We started putting on our website low cost clinics across North Carolina as we
hmm
find, in addition to the spay neuter voucher program.
right,
Yeah, trying to bring that information and just make it easier to find.
right. And so SPCA, like someone couldn't just go straight to this vet, this low cost vet clinic that offers it. Because I also would assume there's also like it's a normal vet clinic, but it just also operates as a low
Mhm.
cost for the voucher specifically, right? Like there are certain people they're
Mhm.
partnering with. They come with that voucher ready to go. It's already been paid for, which kind of helps with that. And you are raising, which I think is cool because you have basically they have their own niche, right? They
Mhm.
are building these relationships with the vets and communication,
Mhm.
and you're fundraising these actual monies and sending people to them. So you play a very important role in that process, I think.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think so. And I think that being able to focus on that has given us just an ability to do what needs to be done. It's not, there's not a lot of things that are distracting us
Yeah,
from this mission. It is
yeah,
entirely spay neuter.
yeah. It's not
Even
sometimes the whole jack of all trades thing. It
yes.
it sounds awesome, but it's do 20 things at a reasonable quality or do one thing really well. That's something I have a hard time too. I would like to be a jack of all trades and master of some. That would be nice,
Yes.
but I'm also all over the place with everything. So that, I got to keep myself entertained.
I understand that too. And it's hard. I think that was one of the struggles we had starting was we were like, well, we can raise funds for medical cases. And we started by helping rescues with those specific cases. So if a dog broke its leg and needed a very expensive surgery,
Right.
in addition to the spay neuter, and then as it grew, we were like, we can't continue to do both.
No, it's too complex, right? Because it's not as simple as raising money. There is the connection. There's the emails between the rescue and you. There's emails between you and I don't want to say client, but the customer or what would, the people who are using your services.
I would say we could call them
We'll call
clients.
them clients.
Yeah.
We're just awesome dog owners that work.
Yes. People who care. They're dog
Yeah.
owners who care. That's what they
Yeah. Dog owners who care. I like that. So from there, in terms of your fundraising,
are.
you told me a little bit about what you guys do every year. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, so our biggest fundraiser is actually a faux ho hodos with Santa.
That's
And this
awesome.
is where
That's
we love a pun and we love being silly. And
right.
every year we will have a professional pet photographer come. We have a Santa who actually sadly just retired, but
No.
he had spent 20 years mainly being a Santa for dogs. And
That's so awesome. It's a different kind of Santa.
it
That's a
is.
different
It's
role, you
very
know?
different. It is very, and he is has was so good at it, and we're very excited. We have a new Santa this
Oh,
year.
so you're not on the lookout. You already found your new Santa. Well, there's
We
only one Santa anyways, right? That he
Yes,
just
yes,
happens to be at all the malls at the same time.
yes. And well, we found a representative who's
Yeah.
willing to share, but we'll have the professional pet photographer take the picture, and we always end up having so many people, and it's
That's
so
amazing.
wonderful because it's a fun way to get a Christmas card. It's
Yeah.
just a fun way to,
It's something fun to do, you know, get in the holiday spirit, get out and almost like we were talking about, for a lot of people, their pets are their kids, you know?
exactly.
The
I
dog
mean,
has no idea what's going on, but he's happy. He's probably getting a treat.
yes, I will say the dogs are treated very well and usually get a lot of treats. And we even do, I know my personal dog,
Hmm.
even though he has known Santa for several years now,
Yeah.
does not like Santa. So we do offer like portraits in front of the backdrop without Santa, where they could
That's
be so
awesome.
calm.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do that. Like, certain dogs just don't like things. Like
Yes.
that's Hanzo's vacuum, right? Or you
Yeah.
know.
Hanzo does not like a beard, apparently. So do with it what you will.
Right, right.
So
That's
yeah,
funny.
that's our main fundraiser, and it's also just a fun time to get to be able to talk to everybody in the community,
Yeah.
have people come out, learn more. We usually bring along a rescue. Freedom Ride Rescue has been our partner for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I've been in communication with her for doing an episode down the line too.
Oh, Molly is amazing, and
Yeah.
she is actually part of what brought me and Colleen together because we were
Wow.
volunteering with the organization she used to work for.
Yeah.
And so we are huge fans of Freedom Ride,
Yeah.
and so they bring out adoptable dogs each
Right.
year. We usually find a few artisans
Mhm.
who are willing to donate a portion of their proceeds to us from their sales,
Yeah.
things.
Similar to like Binky and Bell with
Yes,
Rick Gardner.
exactly. Yes, we actually have had Rick and Binky and Bell out. We work a lot with
He's
uh,
the man.
oh, I have so many Binky and Bell merch things just
Hmm.
because I can't not buy from him.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get my every Christmas my dad or my mom will get my dad this like joke book that
Oh,
he brings over to the hospital. Like all you know, the team
yeah.
like loves it over there, and so I'm gonna get him the Binky and Bell one this year. You know,
Yes, you should. You absolutely should because it's delightful.
it is. It's awesome. So let me ask you this:
Mhm.
with this, well, first, when did the Snap van? When did that officially stop again?
I believe it was late last year.
Okay,
It
so
started.
fairly recently.
Mhm.
Now what is your kind of you and Colleen's fundraising plan with you're
Mhm.
having, you know, you've went from maybe 5 a month to 20 to 30 a month of people who are needing that 100, $150, right? So that's taken from like 750 to I don't know the math, like 150, 20, 3,000, you know, $3,000. What is that something that you guys feel like you can handle? How are you going to continue to raise funds?
That is definitely one of the challenges is trying to make sure we can meet the need.
Hmm.
Um, because we never like having to say, hey, we are going to get to you as soon as possible, but we have to raise funds.
Right.
So we have been working on, we do events like Santa Photos,
Hmm.
or we show up at partner events. We've actually worked with Binky and Bell he is very generously donated to us
Yeah.
from his sales. We also are working on, individual fundraising if people want to become monthly donors so that
Hmm.
there's that year-round
That's the
support.
key, is subscription. And then they forget about it. And they're like, wait a minute, I've been doing good this whole time.
Having been a person who has done that, it's so much better to feel at least if you've forgotten to like cancel something, it's
Right. At
due.
least it wasn't like the Planet Fitness, like, you know, you
Yes.
weren't using or whatever. You're like, well, this is helping things, right?
It's not Adobe Photoshop.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Um, but yeah, we're also looking at finding grants that are able to
Wow.
help us fulfill that
Hmm.
need. We've been exploring work with, Best Friends Animal Network, one of the biggest groups out there.
Yeah,
So we've been trying to find more sustainable sourcing because we
sure.
are so dependent on the kindness of individuals. And we
Right,
do have so many people who, the second they hear, they're like, my dog has been spayed or neutered, but I want to help other people.
right,
And I hear all the time how the shelters are full, the rescues
right.
are full. This is a way I can actively help,
Oh,
but don't,
100%.
I can't adopt right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you're almost you're quadrupling the amount of people you're helping, Maybe consider doing another photo thing earlier in the year, Like two different I'm sure you've thought about that. There's no way you haven't.
We actually did last year for the first time, we did May the 4th portraits.
Nice.
So
I love the
we
May the
had,
4th be with you.
yes, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd.
Nice.
And so we did May the 4th.
Oh, how great is that? And
Oh,
it's a different I like the word niche. I use it a lot, but it is
yes.
a different niche, it is yeah, people love Star Wars, people love dogs, people want to help them get spayed. That's a great idea.
Yes. So yeah, we're always like looking for ways to figure out how to do something that brings the most value to people,
Right.
um, gets us in front of the most people. Um, we previously did a large yard sale that we
Nice.
haven't done in a few years because it did
Yeah.
take over a lot of life.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
But yes, and we're also always looking at events like we're going to be at the Barktoberfest in Durham this year in October. So finding those communities that have already got events that people are coming to
Nice.
and making sure that we're there so we're
Right.
representing that voice.
Those are, great ways to market as a philanthropy. And I think, like you said, the big thing, because that takes a lot of energy too. A lot
Mhm,
of like I'm putting myself out there, right? I'm doing this, I'm going, and it's good when it's a cause you believe in. It's
mhm,
easier to do. However, finding that sustainable source of like, okay, well, now this might not be something we have to worry about as much, and then you can focus energy elsewhere or in your own personal life.
mhm,
So there definitely is, I'm sure there's challenges in that.
mhm. Oh, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that I've seen in working with nonprofits and especially in animal rescue is it's so easy to burn out.
Yeah.
Because these are living creatures. I think a lot of nonprofits have that challenge of burnout,
Hmm.
but I think there's extra pressure when you have animals or humans who are directly benefiting, and you feel this personal responsibility to make sure that you're taking care of as many people as possible. And
Right.
unfortunately, that means you're not taking care of yourself. So we've had
Yeah.
to kind of figure out a balance. You'll see us, our calendar tends to be um, less full of events over the summers just
Sure.
because neither of us do well in heat
Yeah.
and we can't do that.
Yeah.
And so having to draw that line of code, okay, we're helping as many people as we can, we're doing the best we can. And if something doesn't happen, it's not that we didn't try.
Right. And that's okay. And I like that we talked about, earlier
Mhm,
on our call when we were kind of talking about the burnout and the really this personal, responsibility that you feel to help others. You really oftentimes have to take time for self-care and to help yourself first before you can give what you have to others, if that makes sense, right? You always have to be cognizant of how you're holding up mentally, how you're doing in your life, and how everything's going, or else it will become something you're not looking forward to, which Barktoberfest sounds like awesome, So,
yes, exactly. I think it is very much um you want to find the ways to bring joy and the ways to bring happiness to it
yeah,
because especially with animal rescue, this is the other
right,
reason we didn't go into having a rescue is having to say no or having dogs, that we weren't able to save.
right,
And no, and that's a very big toll. And I commend every single rescue
yeah,
and her animal person who has to deal with that because it is exhausting. So yeah, I think finding the ways to recharge and step away from it so that you're not doing midnight, 1 a.m., you're going out and having to do these. You have to set
yeah,
those boundaries.
right.
it's not your entire life.
Right, right. So to switch gears a little
Mhm.
bit, and I'm just curious your thoughts on this
Yeah.
because I think I'll preface it with I think that having a dog for someone can really help with
Mhm.
their happiness, their joy. That's a source of consistent love, positivity. However, what would you say that there's a certain kind of responsibility for potential pet owners to be like, I can't afford to spay or neuter my dog, so
Mhm.
maybe I shouldn't get one yet? Or do you think, which is it's more of a crude take, but it's realistic, right? Like if I'm having to cut out meals so I can spay neuter the dog, and then the flip of that is like, well, I would rather someone rescue this dog and,
Mhm.
groups like you help fundraise for them rather than the dog gets euthanized, right?
Mhm.
And so all of that within the context of how expensive pet care is. I know that's kind of an all over the place, question, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
No, it's a good question because I think it's so hard because you want everybody to be able to have that joy. And I think that people have to take a look before they even consider adopting
Hmm.
and kind of run through a checklist. Do we have the disposable income? Because, if we're looking at a large dog, it's going to cost X amount of dollars each month. How
Right,
much does pet food cost? And
right.
I have an 83-pound dog who loves food.
It's a
So
big
it's
fella.
not cheap. Things are not cheap.
Yeah,
I think being able to understand that at the very least, once a year, you're going to have to do vaccines, you're going to have to do a medical checkup. Do you have the funds for that?
right.
I think the other thing that I always tell people who are thinking about it, what is your ability to be home with a dog?
Time. Not only is it money, but I would argue time is, I don't know. I mean, they're both very important in the
Yes.
sense of dog care, but I would love to have my own dog. But fortunately, my family, have some very cute dogs and I spend time with them. But
Mhm.
I don't have the time in my day nor the money to, get a dog. I mean, that's a huge consideration.
Absolutely. I'm very lucky. Both my husband and I have worked from home
Yeah.
for years, even before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
So we were able to, we spend all of our time with our dog,
Yeah.
and we have a plan so that if we go out of town, he stays with my brother,
Right.
or we find
Or you use Wagworks in
or
Raleigh.
you use
Now,
Wagworks
now,
to take
before it
care.
didn't exist.
Yes, exactly. So having those plans, like thinking through what kind of costs are going to occur, and also, do I have the capability to give this dog the love, the time, the attention it
Right.
needs? Because I think you can't just go off for, 9, 10 hours,
Right.
be gone, and this poor dog is
Right.
left at home.
No, you have to find adjustments. You have to
Mhm.
find people, wag runners per se, to check
Yes.
in. But so then how do you, so I think that's a
Mhm.
fantastic way to look at it. I think that there are a lot of people, and I could be wrong, what do I know? But I think there are a lot of people who just adopt when they want a dog and they don't put a lot of thought into that. So how do you navigate those situations when you have four different requests? You don't want to turn it down because ultimately it's helping the dog. And,
Mhm.
but how do you kind of navigate that? Like knowing this person probably shouldn't have gotten a dog, but like, is it my place to talk to them about that? Or is it do I just help them do that versus the person who is very responsible, is working, and cares about their dog and thought about this beforehand, but just in the time, right? Like in the year, 2 year, however old the dog is when they get spayed and neutered, was a little bit short on change.
Mhm.
How do you navigate
Oh.
that?
I think the most important thing we do is we do not judge. We don't ask. We don't make you give us, your financial statements to
Yeah,
show that you can't afford it. What we do is we will take you at your word. If you say you can't afford it and apply, we will do our best to help you.
nice.
And we'll also share resources. So, for example, if you are, maybe need a pet food pantry,
Hmm.
we can pass those things along. But I think
What?
that
Just real quick, you
uh-huh.
mentioned pet food pantry.
Mhm.
I hadn't, I know like food pantries, second harvest food bank, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Have those been like popping up around Raleigh?
I definitely, I actually am familiar with them through my day job, which is I do communications for nonprofit
Yeah.
clients. One
Hmm.
of them is a cat rescue who does have a pet food pantry. And they are programs that have popped up. Sometimes churches have them, sometimes rescues have them. Uh, for example, this organization has one, and it is very much a need that has really popped up. I think around the pandemic, it increased. And anytime, you see people having difficulties economically,
Right.
they see those increases. I know the pet food pantry that we work with a lot has just seen an overwhelming amount of requests, and so
Right.
they're always having to ask for more food
Right.
donated and for support because
Yeah.
people are just I think it's people underestimate how quickly life can change for you to where you suddenly can't afford to do something.
Right. And I think that's where the, going back to what we were talking about, the not judging, right? Like you're here
Mhm.
to help. Why do I, who says that I get to be judged or
Mhm.
executioner of, this or that? We're here to help people. More importantly, help the dogs, right? Like they don't know what, they're just happy to be there. And I think that that is just such a great mindset to have, and even with, people could be like, why do people get dogs when they don't need them? This creates needs
Mhm.
for the pantries, for, nonprofits. Well, that's life. People make decisions. Things can change in the blink of an eye. And, why not have that positive outlook and like, hey, we're doing something that can help with issues and focusing on something
Mhm.
specific. So, I really applaud you for that. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, our philosophy is just that we don't know the backstory, we don't know the full story, and we don't want to demand the full story. So the less people fear judgment, the
Right?
more likely they are to reach out for help. So if it helps them feel more comfortable like coming to us
Yeah.
with those hard questions, we're happy to help.
Right. And it's so nice they're working directly with you versus like, those the SPCA, it's doing amazing work, but almost it's so big that there needs to be someone there who can kind of walk with you
Mhm.
in your journey on what to find. So, we have about 10, a little less than 10 minutes left. I'm not paying for the premium
Yeah.
Zoom. Who needs to do that?
Yes.
But I wanted to go over some of the at first, maybe if you want to run through the importance of spay and neuter in
Mhm.
dogs, and then also some misconceptions
Mhm.
that people may have.
Absolutely. So, why it's so important is because of the number of homeless animals that are out there. We focus entirely on dogs at Canine Community Outreach,
Mhm.
obviously, but it's amazing how many litters of dogs can be born
Right,
and it's left unchecked. And so, if you already have a system that's overrun by homeless
right,
dogs, then
right.
having puppies on top of that will just be a tremendous overload.
Which is kind of like you're treating, instead of just putting a band-aid over the issue, you're almost going more towards the symptom, right? The
Mhm.
that and I also think it's brilliant that you guys sure, I mean, the Snap van is great in the extent of they, because they would do like homeless dogs or like dogs on the street,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. I think it's fantastic. You guys focus specifically with dogs that already have homes,
Mhm.
because that makes the group that you can help, it makes it more evident of who to find, and it makes it clear for that person versus like, yes, I want to spay and neuter every single dog on the street. It's an impossible task,
Mhm.
and I think having your specific niche, right now, but having that is incredible. I'll let you get back into kind of discussing that, but I do think that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And I will just put a plug in also. We do give an annual grant we alternate years, shelter and rescue
Nice.
of it's the Sasha-Bean Memorial Grant,
Cool.
and it is entirely for doing spay and neuter so that we can help with those larger cases or
Nice.
rescues. Freedom Ride has been a recipient before.
Yeah.
Um, so we have just a number of people
That's a grant that you guys give?
we give it every year, and
Cool.
actually, we haven't. uh, fully rolled it out yet, but we did actually give to Pit Stop from the SPCA Wake County this year.
Nice.
So we are trying to kind of get it on multiple fronts.
Sure.
But yeah, absolutely. We want to help people who want to help
Right.
their animals.
Right.
But it is a very much there are so many myths about it, and I think there's so many different relationships with animals depending
Sure.
on where you're from.
Right.
Uh, I think one of the things we've heard is that spaying and neutering will mean that my dog gets fat.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, there's no connection between that.
No, really.
Yeah, usually if your dog is getting overweight, it may be because you're feeding them too much or you're not exercising them enough.
Right, right. That or like, what is it? Is it the adrenal? It's not the adrenal gland. Is it? What's the one that's related to fat and metabolism?
Thy
Ah, who knows?
Thyroid is, I think,
Ah, there we
yeah.
go. Nice.
Yes. So then there's nothing related to spay and neuter that will make your dog gain weight.
Yeah.
Um, I think also a big question is about behavior.
Hmm.
Some people think that it will change your dog's personality in a negative way, and actually, it can sometimes help, especially in male dogs.
Yeah, with Cedric being the humping man he is
Oh,
right
yes.
now.
Those kinds of behaviors and like marking
Yeah,
behavior, those
yeah.
can sometimes actually be reduced by
Right.
neutering. So if you have to protect things a little more,
Yeah,
others,
yeah.
you can reduce it sometimes.
Right,
Um, I think that there's also the question about, is it unhealthy?
right.
Like, is this doing something to them that's negative? And actually, it can be help them increase their health. It can reduce certain cancers, so testicular cancer, prostate cancers,
Right.
uterine infections. It can actually help your dog live longer if you spay or neuter
Mm,
them.
yeah.
Which is we all want our dog to live as
Want him
long
to
as
live
possible.
forever. Yeah.
So, anytime if anybody has any, questions about, I heard this about spay and neuter, we want
Yeah.
to find the answer. We want to show you the answer, uh,
Yeah.
especially about timing, things like that. So we're
Right.
always available.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You're like the Mythbusters of the dog spay and neuter
Yes, there
community.
we go. Maybe that's our new show. Maybe we
That's a
need to
new
do a
show.
show of
Wrong.
Mythbusters.
Debunked.
Yes.
Debunked. Awesome.
Mythbusters? I don't know. We'll workshop
Well,
it.
yeah, exactly. Well, time is running out, but just want to say thank you so much for coming on. You're an absolute pleasure to talk to, and just the positivity you have and the impact you're making on these dogs and on other and working with other charities in the community is incredible. So that's amazing. And is there anything you want to, you know, leave a note on, or final thoughts that you like to say, or how maybe people can find you guys in the Wake County area?
Yeah, thank you so much. We love talking to people who love dogs like you do. So
Yeah,
visit us at helpncdogs.org. That's where you can apply. That's where you can get resources and more information and reach out to us if you have questions.
that is perfect. Well, you have a good rest of your week and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. You too. Take care of yourself.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.